Welcome to VirtualLab Fusion and our Getting Started tutorials. Several source models have been integrated into VirtualLab Fusion. In this tutorial, we would like to focus on the setting and usage of the basic source models. The most straightforward way to access this source group is to search in the sources ribbon. Besides, they can also be found in the light path diagram or the source catalog. Click on the sources ribbon in the main window. In the Basic Source Models group, there are 5 commonly used light sources. As an example, we start with a Gaussian wave. The Edit window consists of 6 tabs where we can edit different characteristics of a light source. In the Basic Parameters tab, we can set some basic parameters of the source field, for instance a surrounding medium, field spatial position, field size, etc. For instance, we give a lateral offset of 500 microns in the x direction. As a result, we can see a 500 micron lateral shift of the field along the x-axis. In the Spectral Parameters tab, we can determine the composition of the source spectrum. There are 3 options: single wavelength, triplet of by default RGB wavelengths, or multiple wavelengths. In future tutorials, we will show how to import spectrum data from the spectrum generators. The Spatial Parameters tab is used to configure the spatial distribution of a source field. It is not the same for different source models. For example, in the case of a Gaussian wave, all specified Gaussian beam parameters are given: Gaussian mode, waist radius, Rayleigh length, etc. But for a plane wave, the propagating direction is the only parameter which needs to be defined. The detailed description of spatial parameters can be found in the help file. In the Polarization tab, the source polarization property is defined. 4 options can be selected, and the corresponding Jones matrices are displayed below. Coherence is an important characteristic of the source. The source field can be separated into several modes which are mutually incoherent. In the Mode Selection tab, we can choose which modes will be displayed. The last tab is Sampling. Users can define the essential sampling parameters manually, although the default sampling is enough for general cases. Normally, we recommend using the default. Last but not least, we would like to mention that for the sources in the light path diagram, an additional tab named Ray Selection is included. Here we would like to emphasize that in VirtualLab it is possible not only to do field tracing, but also ray tracing. In this tab, we can specify the ray sampling parameters, the ray sampling strategy, and amount of rays. In detail, in the ray tracing engine, 3 sampling strategies are provided. They are Cartesian XY grid, hexapolar, and statistical random. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us.